Here we have section 3.4, exercise 36. We're to find all relative extrema of the function, let's see, what do we have here? F of x, and it's minus x to the fourth. So minus, x to the fourth plus 4x cubed plus 8x squared. So 4x cubed plus 8x squared. Okay, we want to find all relative extrema. So take the derivative. The function's defined everywhere. So minus 4x cubed plus 12x squared plus 16x. Now we want to find all first order critical numbers, so we set that equal to 0. Now I can factor out an x and a 4, as a matter of fact. So I'm going to factor out a negative 4x, and I'm left with an x squared and a minus 3x and a minus 4 equals 0. So certainly x could be 0. Another possibility is x squared minus 3x minus 4 could be 0. So can I factor that? Well, if I can, I've got something like x minus 4 and x plus 1. And does that work? I get a minus 4x and a plus 1. That's minus 3x. Perfect. So we get 0 there. And so that's x minus 4 equals 0, or x plus 1 equals 0. So we have that x could be 4 and x could be negative 1. So there are all our first order critical numbers. Now what I want to do is determine what the concavity is at each of those numbers. So f double prime of x is equal to, I got to go back here. So I get a minus 12x squared, and then a plus 24x, and a plus 16. Now, just to make my life a little easier, I'm going to factor out a negative, I guess a negative 4 out of each of those. Negative 4 to get x squared minus 6x minus. And now I'm just going to check my different numbers here. So f double prime of 0 is equal to negative 4 times 0 times negative 4, so we get positive 16, so greater than 0 there. So this is concave up, looks like a minimum there. Now I need to try 4 and negative 1, so f double prime of 4 is, let's see, so minus 4 times 4 squared minus 24 minus 4. And interesting, this is also concave up, I believe, is what this says, right? I've got 16 and minus, so I'm not sure what the number is, but it's greater than 0. That looks like it's concave up. And then finally at negative 1, f double prime at negative 1 is negative 4. Put in negative 1, I'll get 1. And then plus 6 and minus 4. That's 7 minus 4 is 3. So this is equal to negative 12, which is less than 0, and that's down. And so let's try to get an idea of what we have here. So we've got minus 1, 0, and 4. And it says we are concave down here, concave up there, and concave up here. I messed something up. Sorry about that. But let's look back, because that's not going to happen, right? Because the function's defined everywhere. So I am not seeing how I could be concave up at both of these spots. Well, actually, let's see. Well, it can't be an inflection point. Yeah, so let's look back and make sure I did this right. So I've got minus x, x to the fourth, 4x cubed, 8x squared. I got a 4x cubed, I got a 12x squared, I got a 16x. I factored out the negative 4, and negative 4x, that is. And so I had an x squared, that's correct. That looks good, and that looks good. Okay. So I factored these, and I had an x equals 0, and that's x minus 4, so that makes x equal 4, x plus 1, that makes x negative 1. Okay. Now let's make sure f prime to f double prime, that makes a negative 12 and an x squared. That too makes a 24 and an x, and then the 16x makes a 16. And there we go. You all were yelling at the screen, I could tell. There's a 3 in there. Okay, so when we do 0, doesn't change anything, so that's great. That's up at 0. Now, but when we do a 4, we actually had 3 times that, which would make that, instead of 16, it would make it 48. And 48 minus 28 is 20. So we got a negative 80 here, and that was down. So it's less than 0, it's down at 4. And life looks much better than that. And at 1, that should have been a 3 times that. So instead of negative 12, we should have had 9, 5, negative 20. And there we go. Concave down. At negative, yeah, okay. 4 was down, yep, okay. So there we go. That makes sense, because this thing could get connected like that. That looks like a 4th degree polynomial, and so everything is wonderful at this point. Now, our extrema, we actually have to put them back in the original, and so we have negative 1 and f of negative 1. That is a local max. We have 0 and f of 0. Now that one's an easy one. I know what that one is. and that's a local min. And then finally 4 and f of 4 is a local max. Now, so f of -1, that was, I think, -1 to the 4th, but a negative. So, -1 to the 4th, but a negative on that, plus 4 times -1 cubed, and then plus, I think it was 8. Yes, 8 times -1 squared. And so our f of -1 is equal to, I get -4 and a -1, that's -5, plus 8 is 3. And so here we're at -1 and 3 is a local max. Here I know I get 0, and so that's 0, 0 is a local min. And then finally with the 4 we get negative of 4 to the 4th plus 4 times, oh, this is convenient, 4 cubed. Those just cancel out. And then plus 8 times 4 squared, and so that is f of 4 is equal to 16 times 8, which is 128. And so finally our last local max is 4 and 128. So sorry that I forgot the 3 there when I pulled out the -4, but we recovered, and we got our all our local extrema, our relative extrema, -1, 3, 0, 0, and 128.